timers, and hello to everyone on Blab, and of course hello to everyone on Periscope as well. So right now I'm doing a live streamed podcast, and for all those that do watch and those that do join through, I'll take any questions and talk afterwards. So let's have a look at this week in startups. I'd like to start off with my first little startup story this week, which we talked about in the Big Time podcast over on iTunes, and that's about Saphium, which was a bunch of young guys in Austria, all at university together, and after researching and reading all about plastics and biodegradable plastics, they had a look amongst themselves and said, surely there's a way that we can be doing this a whole lot better. So after a whole bunch of research and a whole lot of stuff, they came up with a way to make it better. So my little startup story is about Saphium this week, who've just been over from Austria, got selected to join an accelerator in Ireland, and they've just received a large amount of funding as a biodegradable plastics company. And Saphium's first product is actually going to be, it's a product called Fabulous Filaments, which is actually going to be the filaments for 3D printers, which are all going to be biodegradable. And what they've also created is some of their biodegradable plastics are going to have uses for medicine, because it can be ingested and then it's biodegradable within the human body. So this company, Saphium, really on the cusp of just some enormous products. As I said, they've just won their first round of funding, and they've got a huge future in front of them. And it's a really interesting startup story, as I said, over on the Big Time podcast, because these are guys, a bunch of scientists who are really passionate about science and who follow their science. So it goes to show that if you follow your passion, regardless of where it is and what field it's in, well, there's no reason why you can't cash in and go forward with that. Right, continuing on, having a look at this week in startups, looking at funding and acquisitions, just to give you a bit of an idea of what's happening. Now, this week there's been a lot of funding and a lot of acquisition, so much so I haven't even been able to, I'm not going to talk all of it through on this little episode because it's just been too much. Having a look at some funding, a startup this week called Let Go, which is mobile classifieds. They're looking at taking on Craigslist, and not bad for an app whose classifieds are to buy and sell locally. They've got had 2 million downloads, and they've just raised $100 million. Prosper, which is a great Australian story, they're an online lender. They've just raised $60 million in funding, and now they're Australia's largest online lending capital raising, which is great news for here in Australia. Canvas Labs, a picture and messaging startup. They've just been acquired by AOL, as have Millennial Media, which is an ad marketplace. And they've been purchased for $238 million. Capillary Technologies, it's a Singapore startup, social CRM, and has just received $45 million in funding, which is pretty incredible. Elementary Technologies, providing video solutions, has been bought by Amazon for $50 million. Databox, a data monitoring, has just raised $3.3 million. Data Smash, viral video apps, just raised $5.5 million. Shift, used car markets, just raised $50 million. Aptus, which is a quote-to-cash solution provider, they've also just received about $1.5 million funding. Take It Easy, which is a Belgium restaurant delivery startup, have just received 10 million euros in funding. Yumily, a food discovery startups, just received $15 million in funding. So heaps of action in the startup world. The list goes on. There's just a real example and a sample of what's been happening this week in startups. So pretty incredible and great to see that there still is so much action, but also interesting that it's not necessarily about the latest app, because we're not just looking at each one of these as an app and all. As iCloud solutions, data monitoring across quite a few different things there. My top 10 this week, the top 10 most downloaded apps in all of history right now. At number 10 is Google Streets or Google Maps, Angry Birds, Skype, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, Google Search, Gmail, Facebook, and the top most downloaded app is Google Chrome browser. Now, what I'm going to leave you on this week is this. Don't let anyone tell you that the sky's the limit, because there's footprints on the moon. I'll see you soon.